Welcome back, everyone, for another week of Full Throttle. This week we have Bryson Sanders and Shane Sanders from Oakland, Maryland. Welcome to the channel, guys.
How you doing, Evan?
Awesome. Waiting for race season start. Only a couple weeks.
It might be a couple more than a couple weeks for us, but down here in Oakland, it snows pretty much till the end of April.
I hope not. I hope we get rolling. I know a couple tracks are opening up next week for practice. Penns Creek, they're having practice next week. But just to get started, if you guys would like to give your background story on racing and how you got into the sport. Where'd you all start?
I started racing karts when I was 7. I'm
Okay.
30 now.
Okay, so you have over 20 years.
Yes. We started this. My dad brought home a couple of yard karts, to play around with in the yard. And we raced around with them and messed off with them for a year or so. And, of course, the summer months, my dad worked. My mom was home with us. And I was running between these two trees in the front yard, and my mom didn't like it. So she yelled at me and said I was maniacing. That was the word she used. I'm not allowed to maniac anymore. So my dad got home and I was crying to my dad. I'm like, Mom said I couldn't maniac no more. Like, I'm not allowed to go fast.
Ricky Bobby.
And him and Mom kind of decided at that point that if we were going to do that, we were going to race them. So the next year we raced them.
Wow. Well, that's quite the way to get into it. So it all started out as a backyard kart deal and went wrong, huh?
Yeah, kind of.
Well, what was it like back then? Did you just go back and take your stuff on the back of a truck? You have a big trailer?
Yeah, we started off in the back of a pickup, and then we raced the whole first season in the back of a pickup. In the second, we was racing asphalt in Stoystown, Pennsylvania, Somerset.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was a little bit too far to travel with pickup, with fuel and things like that. And so Mom needed the truck one day, and we figured out that the go-kart fit in the back of an Explorer. After that, that's how we went to the racetrack.
That's like the number one. That's the best one I've heard yet. Oh my! I brought home a kart chassis in the back of a car before, but I never went to the track and explored.
I've seen somebody go to the track in a Dodge Stratus before.
Good.
With the kart sticking out of the back of the trunk, strapped in there. I've seen it happen.
That's dedication.
Unsuccessful person either.
Well, Shane, did you get started early, or did you just sort of jump in late?
I actually started when I was about 10 years old, and I'm 24 now. A little bit of a different scenario. They were already racing, so it was a matter of finding a cheap chassis at the time. Ran it for about a year or two, and once they realized that I was hooked, that's when I started to get on a little bit of better equipment, and we got to see some better results.
Nice. Did they have bodies whenever you guys started?
Yeah.
Not to make you sound. I don't want to make you sound old or anything, but.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they didn't look anything like we have now. It might have been some pieced together stuff, but
we were still running. When I first started personally, have you seen the fairing that attaches to the nose?
No.
It runs all the way down in between your legs and attaches to the nose. Look up some old pictures.
Okay.
That was back in my day.
I think I've seen some pictures of a kart Jeff Lynn had.
Yes.
I think they had them.
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely changed. Did you guys, what kind of tires did you run on asphalt?
I ran a set of Bridgestones back then.
Okay.
And really back then it wasn't so much. For instance, today if you go asphalt racing, you need to have 4 or 5 sets, and that's to start. You need to have different thousands cut, things like that. Back then, nobody had thought of that yet.
They just wanted to go run and have fun, basically.
And if they lasted 30 laps, you were awesome. If they didn't, then you used them for your feature and you used another one.
Wow.
Kind of just guessed it.
Interesting. So when you guys went to dirt then, was prep a thing? Was that?
Yeah.
Wasn't?
WD-40. We would mix. you basically had one set of tires, and would mix. You would try to make that set of tires run for 3 or 4 years. It didn't. And we would mix. I think it would transmission fluid and diesel fuel, and wipe it on and wrap cellophane and let them set all winter. And then when you got to the racetrack, if you wanted it softer, you used WD-40. And then earlier on, maybe when we were 10, 11, there was a couple different companies that came out. Matter of fact, Top 5 is still out there. Track Claw, Top 5. Atomic Punch was one of the first ones to ever come around.
I've heard of that, yeah.
You started playing with those for different scenarios as far as dust, but back then when you went to a racetrack, the racetrack was going to be the same every time you ever went there. You ran on the same time schedule. You ran it. And even if it would get hotter in the summer or something, they would just back the hot laps up an hour. That way they didn't have to prepare it any differently, or everybody didn't junk their stuff.
Okay.
Definitely different. It wasn't just get through it. It was, they worked with you a lot more to help it.
Well, I know flatheads. Last week I spoke with Corey, and he explained different engine classes to get into. One class that's kind of dying out is the flathead division. Is that the class you guys ran? Yes,
that's. Till I was probably 14 or 15. Well, it was past that because I was in the adult classes before flatheads or before animal even was thought of.
Okay.
It was so simple. You had purple, blue, gold, light, medium, and heavy.
Yep.
And there weren't karts then either, and which is odd because I saw cage karts when I was 8 at Somerset, but on dirt I had never seen a cage kart until I was probably 22, 23 before I ever even watched a cage kart run on dirt.
Wow.
It just, I don't know why, but it didn't.
So
flathead was definitely, that's all we ever had.
I still love my flatheads too.
Yeah.
Saddens me to see them start to disappear.
Gotcha. How many races did you guys usually run on those motors? Is it like today where you ran 12 races and got them rebuilt, or how
back in
work?
We said 8, and then you're wanting to rebuild just because of alcohol, of course. Us, a lot more than 8.
Push the envelope. Yeah, that's like you said, 8 races now. It's, if you want to compete, people do that. But last week I spoke with Corey, and we talked different chassis adjustments you can make to the karts, how the chassis have changed. How many chassis were available when you guys got started? Was it mainly just one company that you go buy from?
No, they were all there. Your big ones, Trick, Phantom, they were all there. Of course, Bandit was really big back in them days.
Yeah, there's some guys that still run those.
Yeah, they're still popular. Everything was non-adjustable back then, but it didn't matter that much for some reason. I don't know why.
Just seemed like the technology just wasn't there quite yet. Almost.
Yeah, and the went on in the same manner. I don't understand, and it's not like that anybody else was out driving somebody more the next race rather than the last race. It was just I don't know how it worked, but positions changed without really making any difference to the go-kart or your tires or anything. It's just one week you'd be better than the other.
Just more of a level playing field all the way across. I don't understand why, but it was.
Gotcha. Yeah, it'd be nice to be able to do that now. Now you guys have, you go in, you have to drill your tires. Guys have 50 sets in the trailer.
Yeah.
These are all punching 80s, 60s, 30s, and that's where you get beat. But
Makes it very tough, especially to go do different dynamic kind of racing, from day to night or anything. It makes it very, very difficult to go do that.
yeah, that alone makes a difference for sure. So what series do you guys run today? Do you guys just stay local, or what where do you guys usually race? What's your home track?
We don't really have a home track. Up until a couple years ago, Red Rock was actually our closest racetrack, and that's just barely over 2 hours from us.
Okay.
Everything is far away. There are 3 tracks that have opened up here recently, right around us, like within 20 minutes. So we're giving a shout out to them: Mountaintop Speedway and Polk Hill Speedway in Addison, PA, and then of course Mason-Dixon Speedway in Grantsville. It's more of they started out a backyard kind of thing, and it's really grown, and it's really cool. I mean, they get sometimes upwards of 200 entries.
Wow.
A lot of smaller,
And-
more dry tracks, not just kind of.
And this is
super
normal night
speedways
stuff.
and all that.
200 entries for Predator races and big block and small block, and it's fun to go. And it's $5 to get in. You win a sticker, you don't win a trophy, you don't win anything, but it's all about being around people and really having that good camaraderie. And it's really good down there. It's really, really good. So we've had a lot of fun with that. We ran the Keystone Series course. I don't really care for the daytime stuff, so I don't know that I'll do that again. But
It's like
maybe
you
here
said,
they
just don't have all the tires.
Yeah, that's it. That's you get beat by tires, unfortunately.
Well, in between time stuff, we like Saturday night racing. I like Saturday night racing. Your Blair's Hoggle. I like.
And we had good turnouts at Red Rock too. I seen you there. We raced against each other. We had their money races, like I said before, they averaged, you get 15 carts in a money race. And it wasn't like it wasn't a big money show, it was just a local money show. So you still had drivers able to compete.
Oh, absolutely. I've always said that if you wanted to go at any point in your career, if you had not been to Red Rock or had not been to Blairsville or something, and you wanted to know where you stacked up, go to one.
Yeah.
Because the best of the talent's there any general night. And most people don't understand that too. You go to Red Rock and finish 5th. That's not something to be ashamed of.
Right. Yeah, we ran around each other all the time, matter of fact, actually.
Oh, yeah.
3 wide racing and all that. It was fun. Yeah, so since they closed down, my local track, the closest one is Flat Run, which is still like an hour, 45 minutes.
I dig that place.
I definitely think I'm going to make the that Brandon Dienchek Memorial Race this year.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we're going to run that as well. So you actually helped Corey Wetzel organize the Three Rivers Clone Clash, located at Noggle Speedway in August. Am I mistaken? That's in August.
Yes, going to be this
year. Sort of explain more detail about that.
It actually started, we were running the Rush Series.
Yeah, Corey mentioned that last week, I'm sorry, yeah.
It came up to where, the 2019 season was coming, or 2018 season was coming, and they hadn't really put a whole lot together yet. And then it ended up just falling apart, and they couldn't do it. So Brian, which is one of the guys, Brian and Tracy, that ran the Rush Series, he always did a memorial race for his son that had passed away.
Okay.
And I got a hold of him probably late June in the 2018 season, and asked him if he would let me do the Blaze Matheson Memorial. And that was to be at Noggle Speedway. And he gave me the graces, and we did that. Corey helped with me a lot, and we did that. And then the next year, we decided to get away from the memorial kind of side of it and start our own the Three Rivers Clone Clash, and it entirely blown up from there.
Yeah,
And
you mentioned. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
no, you're,
But you mentioned how those local tracks around you are more backyard feel. Um, to me, I feel like the Three Rivers Clone Clash is kind of the same deal, but on a bigger scale, and it's more not necessarily organized because they're all organized, of course, but it's more professional.
okay. That's kind of what we were going for. In my years of racing, I go to a big race or something, I'm always nervous, and well, you're scratching your head all day and you're running around like an idiot, and
Yeah.
we're that way. We want everybody to have fun at the same time, very competitive, of course,
Right.
but and just enjoy themselves. And even before the race or after the race, you know, we try to do fires after the races. We try to do different events or games before the races, and just get everybody together and goofing off together to remind everybody that, you know, you're not any better than me. I'm not any better than you. We're all here to do the same thing. We're all kind of stupid for racing a go-kart because we're not going to make any money anyways.
Right.
So let's just laugh about it and have a good time. And so when you put the helmet on, maybe you'll remember that. And
Yeah. That's good to get outlook to have. I know it's a great event. It's a lot of fun. You guys have cornhole tournament before, and it's a really nice event. Brings a lot of top drivers to the area as well as local guys, and sort of allows the local guys to show their talent against other drivers. Um,
it gives everybody an idea where they stack up, especially when we throw the tire. Because even the bigger names that come in, you know, from New York, like your Tom Dawson and stuff, don't get me wrong, he's not bad on Burris, but he's much better on Vegas. Oh, sorry, Tom, can't run him. It kind of playing field makes everybody fight harder. Which, of course, last year it kind of sucked because Burris having so much trouble getting tires and nobody could get 11s. I feel like we probably lost several entries just because of that. But I feel like we need to stick to that. And Corey and I talked, and we feel like we need to stick to that just to level the playing field. So,
well, what's your favorite track to go to weekly? Would you say?
still in operation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's tough. I mean, I don't get enough, but probably flat run.
Okay. And to go with that, what's your favorite class to run there?
Flat run, it doesn't really matter. I've run flathead. I've only been there 4 times, so it doesn't really matter. Animal, pretty good. Pretty fun to drive an animal around there. I'd like to get in that open class up there one time.
That'd be fun for sure. Yeah. So.
I haven't got the luxury of being at Flat Run yet, so I would have to say I really enjoy Noggle. I mean, I do. It's just
It's tough to ignore
smooth.
that track.
I mean, I don't go there as often as what I wish I would, but in operation, I would say that that's probably my favorite track to go turn some laps on.
Okay.
7 be badass too if you've never been out there. That
7
place
stars.
Cool. Yes.
Okay.
I've only run once, but it's pretty nice too.
I watched the BMS money race last year up there in the spring, and it's a really cool track. It reminds me of Cove Valley
Yes.
in a sense.
Too much.
That's another great one that was lost, unfortunately. That ship sank.
Yeah.
That's if you'd asked me what my favorite track was, I probably could have named you 10. But in existence, yeah, I don't know if I even have one really.
Do you think, I know Generalstown, they used to run karts up there on asphalt. Do you think that's something that you'd be interested in if they did that?
Actually, in the last several years, people have talked about it, and nothing's ever materialized. But if they did it, we'd do it. Not on a weekly basis. Like I
Right.
said, asphalt racing has gotten almost worse than dirt racing.
I've
As
never
far
done
as
asphalt.
time,
So what's
everything perfect, like perfect. There is no room for error, and I feel like, and I'm not disgrading any drivers. On the dirt scheme of things, everybody's kind of gotten into this thing where, everybody just hits somebody to get out of the way, and you can't do that on asphalt. If you touch somebody, 75% of the time somebody's going for a ride. So it's way more dangerous, and I don't feel like that the drivers have enough respect for everybody else anymore. I feel like it's gone.
That's understandable. That's understandable. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that would not be good. What's one class that you would recommend someone getting their junior driver into the sport? What's one class you would recommend for them?
You have to go climb, and then of course, whatever age you are, pick your plate. And I understand. Maybe Predator if you wanted to, but if you're going to spend $100 on a Predator, if you're going to spend $1,000 on a decent chassis, say, and then have some tires, have some people that you're working with and helping you out, make the investment to get the $1,000 clone, because it'll always be there. It's not going anywhere. So, the Predator, you could run it for a year and see if you really like it, and then if not, I guess you're not out anything. But as far as any other engine, it's just not worth it to buy an animal or buy a flathead or anything. No, just buy a clone.
And they're more reliable.
Plus, you can go to the gas station and put gas in it.
Right. That's always nice. It's convenient.
Fill up your clone, take care of it all.
Yeah. So moving on, you mentioned asphalt racing can be dangerous because drivers don't have the respect towards other drivers that they should. On dirt, it does feel like sometimes you play follow the leader. It sort of, I think, trains the driver that they almost have to have that thought in their head. Like, you can't just power around somebody anymore. You have to move somebody, and you have to move through the field if you want to gain position. So someone's going to get bumped, which is unfortunate.
Follow the leader. It's just the way it is. So if you take a racetrack, like, we'll just use Red Rock for an example. It might not be the best example, but on a Saturday night, you might have guys 3 wide, and you might have guys changing position every turn, back and forth, crossovers and things like that. When you put in an element of calcium or something and make the track that much faster, that doesn't exist anymore. So with speed comes the freight train. So you can either have one or the other. Either you have speed or you have racing. They don't work together.
I'm gonna quote you on that. I'm gonna use that. You either have speed or you have racing. That's good. Oh man.
Everybody knows what they're doing wrong. If you get up on somebody's bumper and you start to wiggle them a little bit, or you try to get inside of somebody's head to make them make a mistake that you can capitalize on, that's a lot different than knowing you're not going to make a turn and just using somebody's
right.
That doesn't
But
into high-speed application. People don't do that so much. It's more just a bump and run.
Mm-hmm.
And it just sucks because whoever got bumped is likely going to lose.
Back.
It wasn't something that you just overtook somebody. You're going to, but like you said, if I'm the driver doing it, it has to be done to go.
Right.
And that's a product of the high speed. It is.
I mean, if not, it's coming to you. If you don't do it, somebody's gonna get you out of the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So just to kind of wrap things up, what's your favorite thing about kart racing?
Family.
Family. Good one.
Our parents moved away, and of course, my dad got me into this years ago, and both of us, you know, later on. And then, but you know, we fight all the time. You know, sometimes he'll even go drive for somebody else and then come back, and then
I've gotten messages last year.
Yep.
Hey man, is your car available?
yeah,
No.
yeah. We argue. It always ends up back home, and you know, in this stupid little, I think it's like 20 by 24 or something. I don't know. It might not even be that big. Everything that we've ever done came from here. So, you know, engines, tires, clutches, carts, we do it all. So
It's awesome.
Adds up on the engines.
The pride, I guess, at the end of it. That's what I love the most about it. I love the most about, personally now, I'm getting a little bit older, I've gotten to go to a lot more races and not be the driver now, which I used to, I'm pretty sure. But it's to see something that I worked on, or you know, we all worked together on it, and to see that come together and fall into place, that almost makes me happier than winning myself anymore.
Wow.
I never thought I would be the person to say that. I can tell you that right now. I love
that sense of pride's there, huh?
Yes, definitely.
I still want behind the wheel. That hasn't changed.
That's the young age coming out in him.
Yeah, it's there.
Lastly, what's two more things? What's your goal for this season? And to close out, what is words of advice you'd like to give to any new drivers?
My goal for this season is, of course, to have fun. A couple years ago, I thought about quitting the sport. And if it wouldn't have been for one of these little backyard racetracks, I would have quit. And then they reminded me how to have fun without money. It didn't matter. So I just want to remind a lot more people of that this year. That's my goal. Try to help as many people as I can, of course, and with as little money that I can. And if you're going to get into this, there's only ways. Either you start small and you work your way into it and decide if you like it, or you go big and you never turn back. And you won't. Most likely, either way, you won't quit. I've quit this sport 3 times and I'm still sitting here in this chair. You'll be back. I've raced cars. I've pulled tractors. I've pulled trucks. This is the most fun you can have on 4 wheels. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, if you guys have any sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to? Anybody you'd like to thank?
Roger Lowry, he powder coated our 2 chassis this year.
Did a phenomenal job.
Looking sweet.
My dad builds our engines.
That's it. That's about it. We do it all.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on the show this week, and good luck.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thanks for having me, Evan. Hopefully we'll see you at a racetrack here soon, buddy.